to Guerilla News, talk and opinion on world and national events. So we're talking about the Pfizer COVID shot, which was approved today in the United Kingdom, making it the fastest ever vaccine to be approved in the West and the first licensed mRNA jab in history. This is from an article in Newsweek posted yesterday, December 2nd, 2020. The vaccine was given the green light by United Kingdom public health authorities on Wednesday, setting a new record for the shortest time taken to develop an entirely new vaccine and approve it for widespread commercial use. Prior to this achievement, the mumps vaccine was the fastest ever brought to market, with authorities approving the shot in 1967 after more than 4 years of development. Typically, new vaccines can take a decade or more to develop, but it's only been 10 months since American pharmaceutical giant Pfizer and German biotech firm BioNTech began working on the coronavirus shot. The vaccine, which is reportedly 95% effective against COVID-19, is also the first based on mRNA technology to be approved for use in humans, in a development that's been welcomed by scientists. Also, the first vaccine to ever have a 95% effective rate on anything. It makes you wonder how they could be so sure of this after such a short period of time, when normally they spend 10 years working on something. I get that this was a collaborative effort throughout the world, but there's no possible way that they could actually know what kind of side effects there's going to be, or what long-term problems this vaccine could cause. They just haven't spent the time that they normally would on something like this. I think it'll be interesting to see over the next few months how this vaccine affects people in the UK, since they're getting it now and Americans won't be getting it on a large scale probably for a few more months, although we are scheduled to get it in America here in the next couple weeks as well. So I don't know. I would take a wait and see attitude on this and see what happens and how effective it actually is. So in regards to these vaccines, a Dr. William Hasseltine, who formerly taught at Harvard, brought up some interesting points here in the last week. And the main point would be that he said he thinks most people expect the vaccine to prevent infection, and that actually is not a criterion for approval of these vaccines. In fact, he said they assume that everybody, vaccinated or not, will likely be infected. So the purpose of the vaccine will not stop infection, which I hear a lot of these governors right now and a lot of leaders saying that we need to get the vaccines out to break the chain of infection so we can start opening back up. Vaccines do not stop infection. All they're to do is to lower the effects of, or the symptoms of the particular disease that they are vaccinating for. So this vaccine is going to act as a flu vaccine would, and flu vaccines don't stop influenza pandemics. And of course, we all know that because we've had the flu vaccine for many, even several generations now, and they don't stop seasonal flu. And he said that he doesn't think we can count on any vaccine is being developed now to stop seasonal COVID. Seasonal COVID. Which means we can expect to be vaccinated for this every year as well, because it's not going away. He also said that flu vaccines moderate symptoms in between 30 and 50% of those vaccinated, and the other 50 to 70% get just as sick as if they'd never been vaccinated. And also, flu vaccines don't seem to do very well slowing down transmission. So realistically, I don't think we're going to see an ease of restrictions or the use of masks, even with these vaccines. And I don't think anything's going to change anytime soon, which I think people are kind of counting on, that this vaccine means that everything's going to open back up and go back to normal. And that scientifically is not the case. And I don't see leaders wanting to stop having this control over everybody anytime soon. And I think saying this vaccine is going to allow things to open back up is just a way to kind of quell the population a little bit longer until the next thing they come up with or reason why things have to be shut down. As far as distribution of this vaccine goes in America, Pfizer will have approximately 60 to 63,000 doses of its vaccine available for most states initially, and then up to 200,000 doses by the end of December. And there'll be regular weekly shipments starting in January 2021. The CDC has developed a plan of who gets the vaccine first, and it's split into 3 phases basically. And then each phase is split up into smaller phases. But in phase 1, we're looking at high-risk workers in healthcare settings and high-risk first responders, and also all people over 65 years of age and people with underlying conditions that put them at significantly higher risk, and critical workers at high exposure, including those working in K through 12 childcare, critical infrastructure, law enforcement, and agriculture. Phase 2 would include critical workers at a lower risk of exposure, non-essential workers at a high risk of exposure, people living in group homes and congregate facilities, and those with disabilities. The final phase would include young adults, children, and non-essential workers at low risk. Exact numbers on the amount of people in phases 2 and 3 have not yet to be drawn up, nor is there a solid timeline for how long it might take to move through each phase. Just for a little bit of reality here, I'm based out of Washington State in the U.S., and Pfizer has said that we'll get about 63,000 vaccines initially, and those will go to, like I said, first-line medical people. So in Washington State alone, there's 83,000, about 84,000 active registered nurse licenses. And this doesn't even include doctors. And of course, all these registered nurses don't necessarily work in a frontline position, but obviously the 62,000 doses isn't going to go very far. That's just nurses, so you're not talking about doctors and all the other frontline workers. The point is, this is going to take months and months. So any relief for businesses or social distancing or any of that isn't coming anytime soon. Another thing to consider if you're going to take this vaccine or not is many states in the U.S. are at-will employment states, meaning an employer can fire you for any legal reason or no reason, with no warning and without having to establish just cause. And because of that, an employer is able to require you to have this vaccine in order to be employed. So then the question becomes, what are you going to do if you want to keep your job, especially now with if you have a job, you're one of the lucky ones. So you very well may likely be required to have this vaccine in order to stay employed. What are you going to do if that comes? at the end of the day, there's just a lot of uncertainty ahead, and who knows where all this is going to go. It's just something to consider, folks, but decisions that'll have to be made here very soon. Well, drop me a line and let me know what you are going to do about the vaccine. Thanks for listening, and I hope you all have a great day.